In this video training session of AutoCAD 2012, our primary learning objectives are layers. We'll understand the basic concept of layers. We'll also look into different line types, object properties, because object properties is one of the key parameter which you need to play if you want to edit your object's properties. So what all different properties are there that we'll look into: current and global line type scaling, line type scale factor, grid, snap and ortho modes, object snaps, how to combine object snap modes and running object snap modes. At the end we'll see the auto tracking principle. So when we are going to understand about the layer concept, the very fundamental principle is to understand its background. So what layer does? So if you look into the layers fundamental principle, we keep different category of drawing objects as overlay. Overlay means one over another. If you see here, this is the final drawings, and if initially you create the drawing object, then you attach dimension to it, and maybe you attach manufacturing information to it, you attach hatching to it. Different layers means different overlay properties which you are going to assign to your drawing object. When you manage this, that is known as the layers. We look this in the software. If you see, this is the final drawing which you are interested to have, and if you are going to understand about the layer principle, this is nothing but the overlay. So initially you create the drawings by using different drawing commands, then you attach your dimension. When you are interested to edit this drawing object, you are not interested to see your dimensions, so you can switch off. That means you can toggle the visibility of the drawing objects by using a overlay layers. That may be dimension, that may be hatching, that may be different line type like the dash line, hidden line, center lines, etc. So different drawing objects, if you can overlay one over another, and you can control the visibility, and whenever you need, you can switch to the required mode, that is known as layers. And different advantage of layers are there. When you keep different drawing objects under different layers, you can assign global properties. For example, if you see, this is my drawing object, and right side are the dimensions which you can see here. If you remove this and you place at a certain place, it will look like this. Maybe different dimension line properties, the arrow styles, text height, dimension extension lines properties, text color, dimension line color, independently you can control globally. That means if at any time you want to change any properties, that when globally you will change it, that will get reflected to your drawing. This is the fundamental advantage of layers. And when you see in AutoCAD the ribbon based interface, the layers you can see in this fashion. So different areas you can see the layer properties, make objects current layer, you can change any layer to the current layer, you can match the layer, you can copy one layer properties to another, you can isolate the layer, you can unisolate it, you can freeze it, you can thaw it, and you can control the different color combinations, you can lock your layers, you can freeze or thaw the layers, and you can control owner of your layers. So in the ribbon panel you can see all these informations which are arranged in the ribbon layers. So by default you can see this is the menu based interface. You can switch to ribbon based interface anytime. You can go to drafting and annotation, and you can switch your current mode to ribbon based interface, and here you can see different category like layers which is displayed here. This is the layer properties, object current layers control, you can do it, you can match the layers, previous layer you can switch, isolate, unisolate, and so on. And this is the layer properties panel which you can manage by using different names like border, box, center line, dimensions, hidden line, objects, etc. And you can control the property of the layers. So in the ribbon based panel, you can have independent sections like the layers, and you can control independent properties. And when you are going to create a new layers, couple of parameters you need to keep in your mind. So what all those parameters are, let us look into those. If you are going to control the layers, you can go to LA, enter, then you will get your layer dialog box, which is similar to the one which I have shown here, and you have controlling parameters which you need to understand very clearly. Primarily, if you see here, couple of headings are there which I will show you distinctly, on and off. A new layer you can create, or the existing layers you can control. You can switch off or switch on. You can freeze the layer. What is the difference between freeze layer and on the layer? When you go for any layer freeze, the current memory which you are using, that is the random access memory RAM, that will be removed from that, so that working speed will be enhanced. So when you switch off a layer, that is just the visibility control, and when you go for freeze, then that complete layer will be removed from the current memory. So it enhances your working speed. Just like that, you can control the lock. So when you lock any layers, you cannot delete and you cannot do any modification operation. So you can switch on or switch off the locking property, so that you can see independent. Just like that, you can have the independent colors for your layers. You can have your line type properties for that layer. If you select the line type, which type of line you would like to assign to your object, that you can set. Line weight, you can assign the line weight. So start from 0 and till 2.11, you can have your line thickness. And many other controlling properties you can set, like the plotting viewport, that will look in our advanced sessions. And when you are interested to create a new layer, you just go for right click and you go to new layers, and any existing layer you can go for set current, that will be current layer, so that the green tick will be with that. If you go to right click set any other layer, that will be the current layer. And when you go for a new layer, the same properties like the names you can set. You give the name, you assign the colors, then this particular property you can assign to a drawing object. Let us say these all objects I will be transferring to my new layers. So when you select the drawing objects, and I am pressing the shift key and I am deassociating this other object, and I am selecting the layers which I have defined. This is the dimension. And now let us play around the property. I am going for LA, enter, and I am setting a color, this. When you change this property, this will get updated instantly. And now you can see the different properties. I can lock this, I can switch off it, I can switch on this. When you lock any particular layer, this layer, and I will switch off it, it will go. And when you see any layer under locked condition, and if you go for deleting, you can see one message here, one was on locked layer, so nothing will be processed, so you cannot edit. And you can see any locked layer will be in the dim color. And when I switch off the locking property, you can see the initial color properties. So layer is fundamentally very important, or you can say the pillar of AutoCAD. So controlling the display of layers, like you can turn on or off any particular layer, you can freeze or thaw in all viewports, you can also go for the viewport freeze in the new window, you can lock or unlock the layers, you can also go for plottable or non-plottable format. That property, how to control that, will look in our coming sessions. We can assign the colors, and you can change the line type also to the layers. So let us understand this concept here. If you see this particular drawing, I am just switching the line weight. These are the different categories. So if you already have the layer properties, you can assign to your drawing object and you can control all corresponding properties. Let us say this is my master drawing where I am interested to apply all the properties. So I will go to LA and I will keep two different categories active. One is object, one is dimension. Let us say the object color which I am looking for is this color. The code is 140, or you can assign the primary colors as well. And I am going to dimension and I am clicking the dimension color. Let us say this is the color, which is color code is 20. Now I am interested to assign this. Already you can see the color got changed because already that layer we have defined. If you select this particular object, you can see the object is the current layer. Just like that, if you select the dimension, you will see the dimension layer. Just like that, the current layer, if you talk about the object, you can switch off it, but the current layer dimension you cannot switch off, and you can do a specific operation like turn on the current layers. So you can turn on the current layers and you can switch off other layers. So you can check that which layer is your current layer, that you can mark here. Dimension is the current layer. So if you are interested to switch off the current layer, there will be a prompt which you have to access, but there will be no prompt if I am interested to switch on or switch off object layer. If you go to object layer and I will switch off it, that will not pops up any message, because current layer, if you are going to switch off, then you have to confirm it that really you are interested or not. Otherwise, for all other layers, there will be no special message which you have to assign. In our coming sessions, all the advanced layer concept we are going to explain and discuss. Thank you.